Then we will give the time for the third speaker of affirmation to say the word. So, the third speaker from the affirmation, this is your time.
Thank you for the chance to speak. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tiara Amalia Zain. I am the third speaker from the opposition side. I would like to make some statement from the motion of single-sex school are better for education, but from our side, we don't fully believe that single-sex schools are effective. From our perspective, we believe that everyone develops at slightly different speeds. However, few would advocate everyone should be homeschooled. Ultimately, the curriculum determines the mode of teaching, not the gender composition of the class, and the curriculum can be molded to suit both girls and boys. Faster and slower learners and those with underdeveloped hand motor control. If elementary school boys are being forced to repeat grades, that is a manifestation of difficulties in learning and as relevant to their proximity to girls in the classroom as it is to the higher achieving boys. Furthermore, the sociologist Cynthia Epstein argues that in fact there is no consensus among psychologists as the existence of the psychological or cognitive difference between the sex. Finally, as Michael Bronsky notes, the benefits of a same-sex school or single-sex schools cannot be applied across the educational sphere. For the private schools where the test takes place, admit either only high achieving pupils or self-select by expelling poorly performing or misbehaving students. I also would like to mention that I'm not saying I'm totally disagree with single-sex school, but from my perspective, single-sex school is not always effective for student learning. I have some point why I disagree with the opinion that single-sex school are better for education, such as there is a general attraction between children of opposite sexes once they are onset of puberty. Studies show that children enrolled in single-gender schools either tend to become more aggressive towards the opposite sex as adults or tend to be ignorant about the opposite gender and are said to be poor social performers. I am kind of worried that there will be sexual orientation problems like sexual perversion because as I said earlier, children who are about to become teenagers usually go through puberty and can be marked by like each other, the opposite sex, since they enrolled to school where their gender is the same. I'm pretty concerned that problems like LGBT, lesbian, gay, etc. will occur. I'm not saying that I hate that community, but everyone knows that thing is still illegal in our country. And the last point that we can convey that single-sex school geared toward at-risk low-income youth are ineffective and promote racial separation. Young Latin American and Black men are identified as the most at-risk demographic in the nation. They have the highest suspension and expulsion rates, the lowest graduation and college matriculation rates, and in many cities, the dropout rates for Latin American and Black men are over 50%. These are not encouraging statistics, but how do the education boards measure and counselors respond? Segregate these boys into single-sex education or single-sex school institutions, ostensibly to remove outside and potentially distracting influences. What they are doing instead is encouraging a quarantine effect, which does nothing to encourage the boys' educational drive, but perpetuates the notion that these boys spell trouble and affirms society desired to steer clear. In 1998, there was only one single-sex public school in United States. Today, there are over 300 fully segregated public or charter schools. Most of these new schools were specifically created for Black and Latin American boys to save them by separating them from the rest of society. What's more, there is no substantive research to back any of these institutions' practice. And I think it's enough for me. Thank you for the attention. I will return to the moderator. Thank you.
Wow, congratulations, Tiara. You left 1:38 minutes. So give me a moment to write it down. Wow, ladies, and now we actually hear the argument for all the members. We're all great. And this is the time to us to hear the conclusion from each side. Oh, wait a second. No. There is still one. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, now the conclusion. The conclusion will said by the government first. So, the government, you can say your word for the conclusion. This is 5 minutes. So the time is yours.
I'm Dita Remanadia Putri from the government. And in conclusion, we can conclude that both systems work well in certain situations. But we, government, believe that single-sex schools are good for education because can decrease distraction between boy and the girl. Single-sex education also increases a feeling more confident to the teenager or adolescent. Single-sex schools one approach to create healthy competition because in the class there is only one gender. When we talk about competitive single-sex, frequently their own gender when teaching co-educational classes. For example, male teacher can undermine the progress and confidence of the students refusing to choose them to answer questions. Found that gender-based is a major problem at all levels of schooling. Found that gender-based major problem at all levels of schooling are settings that are put by sexual harm and negated by sexist teacher will pay more attention to boys. As a result, those tend to fall behind their male counterparts. And the last, federal law support the option of the single-sex education. In 2006, Education Secretary Margaret Pilling passed through federal regulation allowing schools to offer single-sex classrooms and schools, as long as such options are completely voluntary. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Twita, for your argument, for your conclusion. You left 2.56 minutes. Congratulations. Wait. Okay, now is the turn for the affirmation to say a word, a conclusion word. So, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. I am Tiara from the opposition side. I would like to conclude. All the arguments from the affirmation team and the opposition team have been presented. The debate has gone smoothly, and after hearing the arguments from different sides, we can conclude some points from the opposition team that we are believe that single-sex school are not always effective in the learning methods because first, not all educators or teachers are trained to teaching gender specific. It will be a problem if they can't do that learning style. Okay. Points number 2, between males and female students are better learn together to improve their skill to make learning become more effective. Then point 3 is boys and girls are good influence on each other. Engendering good behavior and maturity, academic competition between them is also make better performance at school. Point 4 is single-sex school can develop sexual orientation problem like sexual perversion such as LGBT, lesbi, gay, etc. And the last point of the conclusion that single-sex school targeting risk low-income youth are ineffective and promote racial segregation. I think that's it. The conclusion from opposition team. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiara, for the conclusion. You left 3:22 minutes. Congratulations. Wait. Okay, ladies, you all have been told us about your argument. You are all amazing, and you guys make me confused which side that will win, because you give argument really strong. But for the argument, to be honest, the opposition give a few things that can break the foundation, but that is still 50-50. Wait, this is kind of hard for me. Wow, you guys have really few different score, to be honest. I mean, like, the difference is about 0.2 point. Like, this is kind of wow. Okay, the winner is from opposition. And give applause for us. Give applause, guys. Wow.